Hi everyone, it's Roger here from DisKingdom.com with a brand new episode of Disney Infinity and Beyond, episode number 73. And in this episode, we are going to be discussing the Star Wars Force Awakens playset and all the news that come out this week. This week, I am joined, as per usual, with Abe there in sunny California.
How's it going, everybody?
Yeah, all right there. And then joining us at middle of the night over there in New York City, we have Travis.
Hello.
Hello.
Because it's sunny in California here, and it's middle of New York.
Middle of the night.
Our time zones are ridiculous.
Yes, and it's like 7 o'clock in the morning for me in the UK. So there we go. So it's all over the place. So this week we saw the release of the Force Awakens playset, and we also saw the figures released. Kylo Ren and Poe. We saw the Power Disc pack released, and here in the UK we saw all of the light effects figures, and they also got released in Australia and other regions. So there's been quite a lot of activity over the last couple of days. Just thought we're quickly going to get in that. So the plan for the show is we're going to quickly talk about a conference call and an event that Abe took part in over the weekend, and then we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of and review this playset. So we'll go into that in a bit. So first off, Abe, let's jump straight into the screening event you went to for the movie. What was the event like?
It was fun. I mean, it was just like previous screenings that they've done for Inside Out, and obviously they did it for The Good Dinosaur. It's just something that Disney Infinity put on for the fans, and you get a free movie screening out of it. You get popcorn, drink, and then you get a little goodie bag to take home with you. But this was obviously Star Wars: The Force Awakens, so this was amazing, and the fact that they were willing to do this for us in the very first showing as well, which was at 7 p.m. on Thursday. But it was a cool event. We show up, we sign in, we go straight to the movie, get our popcorn and everything. A lot of great faces were there from the Avalanche Disney Interactive team. Jeff Bunker was there. I mean, Sully was there. There was a lot of cool people there. They also invited a bunch of the media outlets too. Like I saw Rob from CoinOp. Shout out to Rob, and just a bunch of other outlets. Anyways, JV Ellison goes up. Thanks everybody. They raffle off all the Star Wars Force Awakens stuff. Well, not raffle off. They selected a random lucky winner, which was a little family of I think it was like family of 5, which was cool. Then they rolled the trailer for the playset, and then boom, the movie started. So that was pretty awesome. And then skip that part. At the very end, they invited everybody to the second floor so we can do a picture op. They had Finn and Rey cutouts and a nice background, and they gave everybody a really nice spiffy poster for Infinity, Force Awakens, and then a Kylo Ren figure and one of those pins from the PlayStation experience, which I happened to get Poe, so that was kind of cool. But overall, cool event, really awesome for them to do that for the fans. Filled up really fast, so obviously huge demand for Star Wars. But very cool event. It was in LA Live in downtown LA. It was a new venue, not El Capitan, because I believe they were doing the what do you call it, the marathon. So of course they're gonna host it there. But anyways, no, it was a great event, and thanks again to Disney Infinity for putting that on for the fans.
Yeah, it kind of seems like kind of a thing that these teams do quite a bit, is that sort of a screen event. It almost feels like a good way of them using promotion to tie into the movies for Toy Box TV Live and all their videos and stuff. So I think it's a really good idea, and it seems to make a lot of sense when they do all the tie-ins with the movies and stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's them giving back to the fans, which they do so well. So I mean, they don't have to do that, but they take care of the community. So it's pretty cool.
Okay, so let's move on to a conference call that you took part in over the weekend as well. I'm going to give you some of the highlights and some of the things, some of the key points from that event.
You want me to say them because I have my original list here.
You carry on. You carry on.
So we were invited, obviously there was a lot of the media outlets invited to this screening for the Force Awakens playset, but then the following morning they also had a conference call, mostly for the fan sites and other sites and media outlets that weren't there. And it was mainly for the PlayStation, the Force Awakens, I don't know why I said PlayStation, the Star Wars, the Force Awakens playset. And there was a lot of questions. I submitted 10 of them. I'm surprised they asked absolutely every single one of mine. There was just a few from other ones. I guess I asked good questions. But anyways, I will go ahead and move forward. So I asked about if this playset was either retelling the story or if it's a brand new story, kind of like we've seen in other playsets. JV's response was that they tell key moments from the film, which they did, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Yeah, because sort of, I would say sort of. A popular question that everybody asked was, "Will Han? Will we get a new figure, or will we get a power disc, or will he automatically appear as Gray Han or gray-haired Han?" And obviously, his response is, "No, he's an NPC character. He obviously he's the mission giver, so he's not going to." And that makes sense because on The Rise Against the Empire, we had Obi-Wan Kenobi as the older self giving us missions, so that's cool. What was the most unique thing about this playset? And JV's response was, "This is more of a ranged combat playset," which I kind of did feel that a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there was a little bit of everything else from the other playsets, but it was definitely ranged. And then a few other tidbits, like JV had read the script back in August 2014, so he can keep a secret. This playset gives you another 4 to 8 hours of gameplay, which I kind of disagree because those holo games are amazing, which we'll talk about later. Which was his favorite character out of this series? Mold-wise was obviously Kylo Ren, but then he went into all these special abilities of all the figures. You guys can figure this out. We'll talk about it later. The hardest one to program was Poe because them and Avalanche, Disney Interactive, and Lucasfilm sat down to figure it out because in the movie, Poe, no spoilers, but this Poe is usually flying an X-Wing, so you don't really see him do combat. And obviously for this
pat you on the back.
Yeah, so on this one, they wanted to figure out to make him a playable character in Disney Infinity, and that's what they did. Let's see. I'm gonna skip through the semantic noise because we don't need all that stuff. Voiceover actors, no. Oh yeah, and then finally, once we finish asking about the Force Awakens, they open it up for other questions, and this is where we got some really good, awesome details.
Yep.
And so someone asked about any update on Marvel Battlegrounds, and they said that it entered beta testing. I'm sorry, it entered the beta mode, or I guess beta testing, whatever, this week. And what was cool about it is that they've been having like a tournament between the employees there just to try it out, see how it plays, and apparently great response. This place, it's going to be completely different from any other place that we've ever seen. Not to mention, he gave us a nice little teaser saying that, and it had nothing to do with the new figure, but he said that the power discs, the Marvel power discs, they're actually going to be used in a newer way that we've never seen before, and it's going to be beneficial to this playset, so that's going to be kind of interesting. Boba Fett is no longer a January release, which I'm kind of bummed about because he's still the only one I don't have. So he also said, JV said he's going to update us when he finds out the actual date. I ended up asking him if he can update us on Peter Pan and his personal projects of Darkwing Duck and Captain EO. And he said Peter Pan, they feel like, Avalanche feels like they reached the final design that they want, and they're going to present it to the Toy Box Committee builders or whatever, I forget what it's called. So see if they approve it, and if they like it and everything's cool, then we might get a reveal soon. They're still looking for a August, September timeline to release, just like they said. Mm-hmm. Which, if JV said that it's also 3.0, that also is like, interesting. So are we not getting 4.0?
That keeps leading me to the same thought, which leads you on to the next thing.
Which will be a different discussion. He said Captain EO, big hurdle, no comment. But Darkwing Duck, apparently, this is kind of interesting. It might be closer than we think because, seriously, another thing happened this week aside from Marvel Battlegrounds being beta. JV came to John Blackburn with an idea for another new character that would be supported in Disney Infinity, and John Blackburn was so opposed that he said, "I'd rather do Darkwing Duck than to do that character." And it's like he was dangling this character that he's wanted in this game so long. Finally said, like, "Oh my God, seriously? All right." So I don't know. We might get that or whatnot. Anyways, And finally, I think I touched on the important stuff. Finally, this was kind of cool. So when asked about Boba Fett, why, when we would get him, are we still getting him first quarter? He said, definitely first quarter. We'll let you know, but don't forget we also have Judy and Nick
Yeah.
from Zootopia, and obviously the Marvel Battlegrounds characters to look forward. But I will say that there's this one special figure that luckily has not leaked and we have not brought up that is slated to come out first quarter that nobody knows about, and hopefully you will all be excited about it. And somebody asked if it'll be Disney, Marvel, Star Wars. He said, no, not telling you. And he also mentioned one more thing. He said, we have more figures and playsets coming in 2016, so stay tuned. And Jason from Infinity Inquiry said, just to clarify, JV, is the S there on purpose for when you said playsets? And he said, yes, that is on purpose. So at least we'll get another one aside from Marvel Battlegrounds, so we'll see what happens. But other than that, that new mysterious figure was so cool because now we have another one that we have no idea about. I think it's Bing Bong. I hope it's Bing Bong. Anyways, but other than that, yeah, that was a conference call. It was cool. And the other playset, I'm thinking Rebels.
We are basically in probably in 2 weeks' time. We're going to be doing a look forward to 2016 episode. Next week's going to be a look back at 2015. It's that time of the year you got to do it. So we're probably going to get into that kind of discussion about what we think is going to be coming out in 2016 in another episode, because there's so much we want to talk about on that. But we've got this thing to talk about here. So, a quick guess. Let's just do a little thing. So you think it's Bing Bong. What character do you think it's going to be, Travis? This extra character.
I want it to be Bing Bong. That's aside from guessing, I want it to be Bing Bong. So.
Yeah.
Or General Grievous.
Yeah, I'm going to throw in Scarlet Witch. All right. But I think it's either going to be Bing Bong, Captain Phasma, or Scarlet Witch. I think it's going to be one of those three. Those are my three guesses. I think Captain Phasma's maybe a bit of a stretch.
Abe,
Let me
think did they
go
say
ahead.
something
Go,
about
Travis.
standalone being a standalone character?
Say that again?
Did they say anything about it being a standalone character?
No, he didn't want to get into any detail.
No.
He just said that there was another character that they were releasing. He was very tight-lipped about it. And also going back to what Roger said, but before I even said my guess, I should have said disclaimer. I don't think it has anything to do with Marvel, because obviously there was a leak and we saw what's the potential. But I think they're gonna announce all the Marvel stuff a little bit later.
Yeah,
This is why I thought it would be either a Disney or Star Wars character, because there's no reason why they would have to announce. He wouldn't bring up one character if it was Marvel. He would have brought up like three others, because we don't know about those three. So I'm 100%, no, not 100%. Well, I'm 100% sure that it's not Marvel, but I think it's either Bing Bong, it's General Grievous, and all of us would love it to be Captain Phasma, but that's for another story, because I understand why it didn't come out on release. But anyways,
the only thing I was thinking was we're about 6-8 months from June when the movie came out, and everyone was talking about Bing Bong, which is about the time frame that they need to kind of get an extra figure put together, a bit like Yondu. That's where I must admit Bing Bong was kind of like, that makes a lot of sense. It kind of fits time-wise, especially if it's like February, March time.
Well, I mean, I did ask. I mean, I didn't bring this up on the conference. I mean, in the conference call recap, but I did ask him the same question I asked at the Twitch feed, which I said, the popularity of Guardians of the Galaxy, the popularity of the movie, led you guys to bring in Yondu. We know that this movie is going to be popular, and so because it's going to be so popular, will you guys consider bringing somebody like Captain Phasma? And he said, the only answer I can say is that we are definitely looking for into new possibilities and figures that are coming, and stay tuned for 2016. So it's like, the JB response.
Yeah.
So it's possible. Who knows what happens.
Right. Okay. So I think that's going to give us a little bit of an oversight of it. But like I said, we're going to hold off on giving more predictions for 2016 for our first episode of 2016. So let's get into this thing here, the Star Wars Force Awakens. Now I am going to put out a little disclaimer right off the thing. There could be some spoilers. We're going to try our best not to do anything massive. We're going to try and keep the spoilers to a minimum, but little ones might slip out. So if we give a warning straight off the bat, we don't want J.J. Abrams coming down, you spoiled the movie. Well, we're giving you a little bit of a heads up that there's a little one. And just also as a quick plug, we're going to be recording an episode of the DisKingdom podcast where the three of us are going to be discussing The Force Awakens in full spoiler mode. We're going to be doing that as well. So,
let's be honest. We're going to talk about the playset right now. If you guys don't want to hear any potential spoilers, just don't watch. Move over to the very end because I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to come out. It's just going to come out. But because it has to, based on playing the playset and watching the movie, it has to come out. So disclaimer: if you don't want to hear anything, you can just put mute and play your favorite music or something. I don't know.
Right, okay, so let's jump into this one. So I'm going to throw this one straight over. We're just going to give our initial thoughts on each playset. So I'm going to throw this one to Travis first.
Okay. Well, I haven't yet to play the entirety of the playset. I ended right when we entered, I think it's the final, quote, planet.
Starkiller Base?
Yes, Starkiller Base. I just entered there, so I played through a couple other planets. Gameplay-wise, I like it. Storyline, it started off real well, and it's kind of like semi-dive bombed since then. Like, it started off really great, and now it's So we shall see how it ends. But
yes. It's going to be an entirely different ending, I think, by the time I get there. Right, so Abe, do you want to give a quick thought on it before we go into a bit more meat?
I love this playset. It's great. I love the detail and everything that went into it. Side missions, everything's cool. For me, like Travis, got into Jakku, loved it, was feeling it, everything was cool. Got into Hans Trader, that was awesome, it was cool, saw some subtle differences. Showed up to Takodana, everything was cool up until the point where it started to get to the story progressing, and then that's when I was like, we'll dive into that in a second. But then we got to finally to Starkiller Base. I won't say much because obviously Travis hasn't played it, but let's just say it's again interesting. But I do want to say I do enjoy duking it out with Kylo Ren. That was fun. Mm-hmm. Some people may say that it was the same all three times. And there was some differences if you actually gave him time to attack. So please pay attention, especially the last part. The last part was cool. I enjoyed that part. But my biggest beef with this playset is, and I want to give Disney some credit because I do want to say that I'm sure this script was reworked and so tight-lipped, and even though they had access to it, they had access to the first draft and going back and forth. But the story was off a bit. So. That was my biggest beef with this playset. But anyways, that was just my recap. We'll get into it deeper in a second.
Yeah.
Roger, your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I'm maybe slightly underwhelmed by it. In terms of the story-wise, yes, it kind of deviates from the main point of the movie. Kind of huge chunks are just missed and stuff. But I think it just felt. It just feels a little samey. It just doesn't. It didn't seem to feel like anything new. It just felt like part of the Rise of the Empire playset was just they've just changed the characters and stuff. It just didn't. I don't know what it was. I just couldn't quite put my finger on it. I'm playing it through and I'm just like, this is fine. It's good, but it's not blowing me away. Like when I was playing Rise and Twilight, I was like, this is fantastic. This was just like it feels the same. There wasn't really any kind of it's like that whole thing of collecting salvage. It's like, well, we had to do the exact same thing in Rise of the Empire. Exact same thing of how to collect all these things, do all these side missions to make you get in the spaceship to go. So we've got a special guest on the show there. Just joking.
He's always a guest. Anyways,
I don't know. It's good.
I think you're being nitpicky though, because all playsets do the same thing.
Yeah, but I suppose if you looked at the ones that came out at launch, the free playsets, Inside Out, Twilight, and Rise were all very different between the three of them. They had a completely Twilight and Rise felt very different. They're very battle zoned and all the. I mean, like you said earlier, this one might be more about ranged attacks because there's a lot of enemies on the screen, lots of fodder, and you need Finn's gun to basically take them out because there's so many. Seem to be a lot more enemies in this one.
Yeah, I don't know. I did feel differences. I did feel similarities, but then again, unlike you, I think all three playsets that we got before, they all play the same in some aspect. They all feel the same. I mean, the stories obviously are different. Some of the mechanics are different. I feel like I did a lot more range than this one, for sure. I mean, you needed range to unlock certain areas, to get to certain bridges. I mean, you definitely needed it for, obviously your fight with Kylo. I mean, there's a lot that I saw in differences. Not to mention, you still had your little space battle thing where you were, where you're running away from the TIE fighter. I mean, you do have some awesome moments in this. Not to mention, one thing that this playset gave us, which was way beyond better than anything else, is we have these awesome little mini games inside. I think it's way better than the Inside Out stupid Candy Crush
mobile game.
Yeah, you have the holo games, which is supposed to simulate the little like holo game inside the Millennium Falcon, but this is different. It was so much fun. I don't know. I think you're being a little nitpicky, but that's just my opinion.
I think me, it's like I'm just going through the main story, so I really need to get into the nut and bolts of all the hologram games, all the things of it.
Oh, that's so fun.
I don't know. It's like I said. I think it is got a lot of good stuff. I can't quite put my finger on it. It doesn't quite hit. I'm gonna put it straight out on the thing. I think after playing Star Wars Battlefront's Battle of Jakku for a couple of weeks, I'm sitting there looking at Jakku and going, God, am I playing on my PlayStation 2? It just, honestly, just feels like this just feels. Is this the same planet? I know it shouldn't compare it, but
yeah, you should. Well, first of all, you need to clarify this, okay? Because the Battle of Jakku takes place a year after the end of Return of the Jedi, and this playset and the movie take place 30 years after. So big night and day difference.
Well, I mean, in terms of it's the same planet. I'm really, it's really bad, but I think after seeing Jakku on that, and it looks stunning, it looked beautiful, and then you see the playset, and I was just like, have I got fog on my eyes or something? I shouldn't do it, but I couldn't help it. Can't help it doing it.
Apples and oranges. That's all I can say.
No, I don't know. I know I'm being really nitpicky, and I know Infinity can't even do that look. But I think because it's the same planet, it was like, oh, I really just like. I'm just being spoiled by Battlefront. That's all I can say.
All right. Well, let's dive into it. I mean, I guess on your note right there, let's dive into what we didn't like about it, and then let's end this with the good stuff. Okay. So I'm gonna just dive in because honestly, it's the one thing that bothered me, but I shouldn't let this bother me as much. And I am gonna say this. I'm sorry. Spoiler alert. So cover your ears. Big spoiler alert. I'm gonna have to mention something from the movie, and I'm gonna have to mention something here. So again, one last time. Spoiler alert. Don't get mad if you heard this. So the first part was great. I loved the first everything on Jakku. I thought it was pretty good. Close to the story, everything was cool. We got to the freighter. There was some subtle differences, but again, everything was cool. I enjoyed it. Then we got the Takodana, which was great. But then, first off, what was it? Maz?
Yeah, the girl with the glasses.
Yeah, Lupita Nyong'o's character. She was not she did not exist in this playset, which was kind of weird to me. Another difference was, obviously, which again, this makes sense to me, but the only thing that I'm being nitpicky about is that it didn't really mirror the story that we got to see in the movie theater, and that I've watched 4 times. So, obviously, it was different. Yeah, 4 times. I said that correctly. Travis is like.
Abe single-handedly bringing the rise of the cinema ticket of how much money it's making. Suddenly going, how do we make money? We're gonna
dude,
make
no,
everyone go 5K.
I'm sorry. I haven't even paid for one of these viewings, so no, thank you very much.
I mean, I've seen it twice and I paid for one, but four and you
Not
haven't even
once
paid
yet.
for one.
Yeah.
I
And
think
there's
the- I
me.
think-
I've only seen it once.
I think
I feel really done. Oh, sorry.
I think the fifth one I'll be paying for. But anyways, it's just there's so many differences. Like for example, like Kylo never shows up in Takodana. We don't see him. We don't. Then you have the main guy. I forget his name. From Jakku, the guy that was giving out the portions.
Car.
Thank you. He came back to try to get the Millennium Falcon. It was kind of weird, and then they made the main bad guy instead of Kylo Ren and Takodana. They made the main bad guy the guy that was sitting down with the chick who reported them to the First Order in the little cantina thing that they had there. So I mean, there was a lot of big differences, and then the big elephant in the room for me was obviously. I'm not going to spoil this part, so even if you're listening, and just in case, I don't want to spoil the movie. But all I'll say is that we had one person disappear out of the blue, from Takodana to Starkiller Base. There was one person in the story that just disappeared, and it'll make sense in the movie, but in the playset, she or he was gone. They were gone. It's like poof, what happened? So again, that was my biggest critique. The biggest critique is the story. Just it wasn't 100% in line. But again, I do want to say that I understand because this movie was so tight-lipped that maybe there was some subtle differences that maybe they did screenwrite changes and everything that was too late to reprogram into the game, or they felt like it was okay. I am going to touch on JV's point saying that these are key points in the movie, so not like it's a retelling of the story, they are key points. But other than that, that was the biggest thing that bothered me. I mean, for me being a fan of the movie, I really enjoyed it, and I've answered so many questions the more viewings I've had. It just, this playset, you kind of wanted it to be like Rise, where it follows the story. Or even though Twilight Republic sort of gave you a new story, you already knew you were getting a new story. This one, you kind of expected it to tell you the same thing as Force Awakens. But other than that, I thought everything else was cool. Everything was fun. I love the new vehicles. I love that chase scene with the Millennium Falcon with the TIE fighters. I love the holo games. But other than that, just the story bothered me. What about you, Travis? What bothered you about this playset?
Well, like you and I talked the first night we started playing the playset, and we both ended at the same point, and we both were really like, this is awesome, little subtle changes, we deal with it, because Rise had it, and we had to deal with that. But again, I hark to what you say about the differences on Takodana. And I will even go forth in saying that instead of seeing actual characters, now we're seeing holograms of characters, and they make it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like instead of seeing Leia and C-3PO, we see their holograms, and it's like
I forgot about that. That's true.
You're cutting off a whole not even plot point, but like a section of the movie, and you're turning it into like a 3-minute blurb in the Millennium Falcon. I also, where was it? There was something else that I was just like, Unkar is now like one of the bigger enemies and villains instead of being just a side guy on Jakku. And
well, actually, I'm going to quickly just choke on that character because in the new Star Wars Commander game, he's been brought in as a big, and I'm wondering if they're going to be using him more in maybe those kind of creatures in the later movies or something. Maybe they had a lot more plans for these characters. Just throwing that in there.
Well, can we say that in the vision in the movie that Rey had, and I'm not going to go deep into it, but I believe it was his hand that was dragging her away. So
yeah, it is.
And there's a reason why she would know a lot about the Millennium Falcon and know that he stole it. So I think there'll be more about him later.
Yeah.
Anyways, go ahead, Trevor.
I liked when I started playing the game in general. I liked the fact that we were salvaging, thinking it would be a little different than Rise, but it ended up being like there's a lot of mirroring of Rise on Jakku with Tatooine. Um, I didn't mind it per se. It seemed like it was just a rehashing of Tatooine. It was like a reskin
Yeah.
type deal to an extent. I only was able to play one of the Holo games, but I really enjoyed that. Kind of wish they were more required. They seem to be like you could easily skip over them if you didn't realize it.
Can I jump in on that and say that they are sort of required? Because first off, you do have to find them, like if they were a coin. They kind of look like the coins. And not to mention, you have to 3-star them. If you're a completionist and you want to do your feats, you have to 3-star absolutely every single one of them. So it's sort of required.
But the mission that you have to do to start unlocking these guys is not required on Jakku, is it?
No. Oh, actually, wait. You are required to repair it. Repair the and
That's
so
a requirement?
Yeah, it is a requirement.
Yeah, you have to get the
It's part of one of your missions.
Yeah, the only thing is with all that salvaging stuff is it made sense at the beginning because she's trying to get enough money to buy the ship or rent the ship or whatever. But all this thing of fixing things, like when you went to the second planet, I can't remember the name of it. Why are we still salvaging to collect and fix pipes? It was a bit like that should have been just left on Jakku because we needed it there. It was like I don't need this in the next section. Why are we fixing pipes? It just didn't. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I can see that being an issue. I think they did that though because you have to understand that we barely saw anything of Takodana in the movie. We only just saw that where they went, so they had to make it a little bit linear and add stuff to do there. So I think it was kind of convenient to add that as far as the ability to fix things. And there wasn't that much to fix though there, which was kind of okay with me. But I do see how it didn't make any sense being there. Yeah.
But the best sense of it all was the fact that we get to build our own skate park that we can then fly around on and do tricks and things. I mean, I remember that from the movie.
That was the weirdest thing.
I was playing. Why am I doing? Why am I building a stunt park in the middle of this planet? I mean, I know they need some time off.
Okay.
But I don't remember that scene where R2-D2 and
Hold on. I have to say something. All right, we mentioned that again. We're doing spoilers here. Okay, this is for all the movie fans too. Spoiler alert. Episode 1 we had pod racing. Episode 8 we're gonna have freestyling stunts. It's X Games pods. So get ready, guys. Okay.
On revamped land speeders, no doubt.
Yes, definitely. It was kind of weird.
Yeah. It's like I could see what they're doing. I could see that they're basically trying to fluff the playset out a bit, but that's where it just was like, this is fine, but it just felt like fluff, and I think that's all it just felt like. They were just like, we've got to pad this game out with some more content. There's a lake, let's put a water park on it. I said it just felt like a building an attraction at SeaWorld. It just didn't make. It just didn't make.
I wanted to see a giant gopher fish just jump out of the water.
I don't know. It's really. I don't know. Maybe the figures. I think that movie maybe left us all like, God, this is great. We could do this. You could do this. And the playset has just missed massive parts of it, and given us bits that we're like, what?
Look, here's the thing about that too. Like, part of me wishes I would have played the playset first, and the only reason, well, that's the thing, because it didn't ruin again a key moment that kind of was weird, and yeah, I think after seeing the stunt park and then watching this movie, I was like, oh, okay, this is much better now. I think I would have been okay. Anyways, Travis, we totally went off on a tangent. And more things. But go ahead. Did you have anything else aside from that you didn't like?
I didn't understand those like new age pigs that we found on Takodana, like these like little tiny. It looked like Archie the Scare.
Weird.
Archie the Scare Pig got a Star Wars makeover.
Yeah, that's so true. I was like, what in the world is it? And then it unlocks it as a playable, as a writable
a
toy
pig?
too. That was so weird. I don't know if they were trying. I don't know if they were trying to make it look like that one weird pig thing from the watering hole, but that thing is huge size comparison to that thing we got to ride.
Okay, that thing, if they had that thing in the watering hole in the movie as a rideable, that would be awesome. This was not that. This was
No, that
like
was Archie the Star Wars
Archie
pig.
the Scary Pig in Star Wars.
Do you think as well, like the unlocks? I love the fact that you're unlocking stuff as you're playing through the game, but you don't know if you've missed anything because you wouldn't know because you can't see it. There's no, I think because they've hidden everything so well, it doesn't seem it didn't because I was expecting when I put down the playset piece that it was going to put all the store was going to fill up with all the items you could buy, and just say it was unlockable in this. But it's almost like they've tried to hide everything because of the rules and stuff. So you don't unlock it till you do it in the playset. So if I didn't do a mission and I didn't unlock it, I don't know if I unlocked it or not, if I was going to unlock it.
The only way you can tell, and there is a way, and they did this with the other playsets, where when you look at the missions to 3-star them, if one of them unlocks a toy, you will actually see a little present box right next to the star. That's the only way you know that it comes with something. Now, sometimes it might not even be a toy. Sometimes it might be concept art. But still, you are able to tell whether you get something out of that.
But I mean, in the toy store,
I was getting a lot of concept art unlocks last night when I was playing it. Like, a lot of concept art. And I was like, wow, more concept art. And, wow, even more concept art. And other playsets, it was like I barely got any concept art. And
the thing
is just weird.
I don't know, because I haven't done it yet, Abe. Have you unlocked any, like, sky domes or terrains or anything?
No, but from my understanding from the Twitch chat, I don't think there are going to be new sky domes, from my understanding.
Because I know they built a toy box out of it, but it just, again, I don't know, this is the problem when they've been so tight-lipped on it, it's almost been like a stranglehold on the game.
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel like this, like, it almost has felt like it's actually caused problems by it being so tight-lipped around it. It's caused problems of not being able to do things properly because no one could know about it, and it's almost, like I said, it feels like it's been strangled a little bit. It's like if we'd had this in, say, 3-6 months, we could have got more out of it or better.
Well, I mean, if you don't mind, I want to start jumping into the things that I like about it, and it ties into what you said. Travis, is it cool if we jump into what we like?
Yeah.
We'll just going back off of Roger real quick. The one thing I really liked about Rise was K3PO and his you went to him and you bought stuff to advance into the game, and you don't have that, and that would have been a better. They figured out a way to do that in this, where you could make sure you had all your unlockables and stuff. I think that would have been a lot easier.
Okay, so piggyback off of what Roger said, and it's going to start with things that you do enjoy.
Yeah.
And it ties into what you're saying. I think, I do feel like the whole secrecy and everything, tying it up, kind of gave it a little bit of a downside. But one of the things that I did like about this playset, which makes sense why they had this so tight-lipped, was the intro. You turn it on, and you have the words, and you have the letters, and it tells you almost exactly what we see in the movie. Yeah. And that introduction right there spoils the movie, spoils the playset, so it kind of makes sense why they kept that tight-lipped. But I love the whole starting the playset with the logo and the words scrolling up. That was awesome. I already dove into the holo games. I love the holo games. They're all pretty similar, but they all have different difficulty, different ships. Gives you both side of the Resistance and the First Order, so it's kind of cool. One thing that I did notice was a big difference from Rise, even though you did have to destroy things to collect currency. This one you salvaged, obviously, but one thing that you got to do with the salvage is repair things. I don't think we've had an aspect of any other playset where you had to repair things like that. No. And you had from pipes to little rails that you jump on, to even certain toys or satellites that you would need for missions. So that was kind of a cool aspect that I enjoyed. I did also like the fact that some of the the toys that you unlock, some of the transportation are pretty close to the movie, and they pay homage to it. And I enjoy the fact that I do have, aside from Star Wars, the Archie pig thing. But I did like that blue weird elephant-looking robot animal thing that
Look, the
Tito was.
beast.
Yeah, Tito was writing it in the movie, so that was there. I love Ray's speeder. That's in there. I mean, it
USB
just
stick.
whatever. But well, other than that, I think it's cool. And even though we had some issues with the story, first part of the playset, both Jakku and the freighter were awesome. And I loved the battle with Kylo Ren at the end because even though the last part was very different, it felt good. It was a good balance. It was a little hard, and after you figured it out, it was great. Oh no! And I just remember something I didn't like as well, because we just went into the good stuff. But I'll mention it anyways. Don't understand how Finn got a lightsaber at the very end of one of his combos, but yet, spoiler alert, Rey doesn't. So it's kind of weird. But anyways, whatever. I still like the playset. It was cool. I think my biggest concern was definitely the story / skate park. But I love the playset. It was really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Those were the things that I can remember
Come
that I
on,
liked.
now look, does that not look like Ray's a piece of equipment there? Is that not her vehicle?
Sort of.
It's just a USB stick. It just looks identical. I just can't get it.
It's wider and it's red.
You can sit on it, but that's it. Okay, Travis. So what did you like about the playset?
I didn't think he would be my favorite character.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Man, his blaster is amazing. I love Ray. I love Ray too. I found out really early on, that this was a ranged game. So Kylo unfortunately hasn't gotten played much, but these two characters are amazing. Probably some of my favorite characters to play with in 3.0 in general. They just their attacks and their special abilities. I do like how Poe can summon BB-8, but I really do like these two characters, and I think if people don't get the other two characters and they just get the playset, they're not disappointed with these two characters. And that's the first thing I can say about this playset other than the other two. Both strong characters. I did not care for Anakin in Twilight, and I didn't necessarily care for Luke much in Rise of the Republic playsets. But I do like these two starters for this playset. So.
Can I jump in and say that I totally agree with you, Travis? Like I didn't find I got both Rey and Finn up to 20, then Poe, and I didn't even get to level 10 with Kylo in this playset. Like I literally leveled up Kylo on his own in the toy box. So I agree with you.
One thing is that Kylo doesn't actually appear as an unlocked character until Tokadana.
Yeah.
Right. I guess what I was tapping into though was the range part, because you definitely needed the range characters. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a ranged game. You need the range characters.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do I can slaughter the stormtroopers with Kylo Ren, but it's not nearly the strength and stuff as these range characters. You just take him out in 2 shots or 3 shots, and you're good.
I must admit, I think with Finn, he's full on like shooter mode. You're shooting and suddenly it stops and you've got to reload. Because I think with the costume change disc, it allows him to keep shooting while running without having to reload or faster reloads. But it feels like a shooting game. It feels like it's something we didn't feel like with any other character.
Yeah, it's just great. And going on off that. Also, one of the things I do like about it are the power discs. I do like the 2 costume change discs, even though they're subtle, are tied into the movie pretty well with Finn's stormtrooper armor and then Poe's non-X-wing starfighter
resistance
armor,
check.
which is you don't necessarily ever see, but he hints at because spoiler
In, in,
alert,
in the beginning of the
Finn
movie, we do see it.
Finn
Sorry.
steals the jacket in the movie.
Yeah.
And then the tactile, the first resistance tactile power disc, it's okay. It does what it needs to do. The one that does get me is the quad jumper because we see it in the movie like 2 seconds,
And it's blown
and
up.
we barely see it in the playset, and it's a full-fledged power disc. So.
Yeah, I think this is a playset for me that will probably improve throughout the week of just playing it and kind of getting into the nuts and bolts of doing all the little missions and doing all the things of it. I love the fact that it came out at the same time as the movie in terms of it's great to have the brand new movie and the brand new playset all at the same time. It's great. This is what the game should be about, but it comes at a slight cost. But that's something I can deal with. I love the fact that we're getting it 4 months after release. I think that's great. I think the parts of this playset which feel really good. I like the bit where you're inside of the on Starbase and you're like running around inside trying to put the detonations down and stuff. That felt almost better than the Death Star zones on the other ones. It felt a little bit more bigger and a little bit more like you had to do something. So it felt a little bit more stronger. Like I said, I don't know what I think because of the movie being so new and we're comparing it to the movie and going, well, that's not happened and that's not happened. It distracts you from what's going on because in like Twilight, it's got nothing to do with a movie. It's a completely original story. So therefore, all of that goes away because none of it's there. It's like you're saying, like with Kylo Ren. I almost felt like we should have had a mini boss battle with him on the second planet. And then he runs away or whatever it is because, Finn never even, or Rey doesn't even get sort of kidnapped. That entire part of it's missing, and they've gone to rescue him. It's just suddenly like, oh no, we're going to save the planet, and I work in sanitation.
Well, that's the thing. Why I feel like they had to do a subtle story change, which again, I understand why, and it bothers me because of the movie. But you got to understand that Rey is a playable character.
Yeah.
In this game, so they couldn't really take her away. So their way of justifying that was, let's not have Kylo Ren show up. Instead, we'll have, and I don't remember his name again, the big
Unkar.
Unkar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's have Unkar show up, and he'll be the guy that's causing the issue. So it kind of makes sense, and then that's why you see her still in the game later on. So
it's also, I think, as well. I think completely skipping over the sort of Rey getting this lightsaber because obviously it literally just falls right in front of Finn and he picks it up. It feels a bit odd, I think, when you're doing his special moves or you're fighting with him in the playset after that point, because then he kind of brings that lightsaber and just obviously he's not trained like the other lightsabers. But I don't think he can use that in the toy box. I don't. I think it's a bit like the Inside Out characters, where it's only a playset.
Okay, I'm not 100% sure of that.
I'm not 100%. I know when I used him in the playset in the toy box, he didn't have it. I put the video up and someone said, "Oh, there's no lightsaber," and it's like, well, I had it in the playset.
That's interesting. So that's cool.
So I understand why they've done that. I think it makes sense. I mean, I'm going to call this now. In episode 8, we're getting a new Rey figure, completely different figure.
I was going to say also, at the very end of this playset, you also understand why Rey was not given a lightsaber in her figure form, because they kind of end it the same way that they end it in the movie. So it's kind of like, okay, she gets it after, So it makes sense. So I was okay with her not having a lightsaber, and Finn, I did not know that. That kind of almost makes me feel better than the fact that the lightsaber thing is only in the playset for him. That's interesting. I thought it was also in the toy box.
I didn't see it in the toy box, and I had unlocked his skill tree and went in, so I don't know. But like I said, I think there's lots of good stuff with this. But
I was just
carry on.
Okay, I was gonna say there's one more awesome thing that I did enjoy about this playset was that the other playsets, even though they had something similar, they weren't as awesome. But when you're in outer space for each planet, some of them had the moons or the little tiny planet, and they were much larger and much interactive than the other ones in the other playsets.
Yeah.
I mean, you had ones where you had to ride rails like crazy, and it was a big maze. You had some where you had to go through this giant path with a bunch of stormtroopers spawning, and then you had to like take out some droids or actually destroy some consoles. I mean, it was those planets were awesome. Like you had like extra additional things, and another cool thing about them is that you need to visit these places because they hide holocrons there. They hide some of the holo games there, so it's another.
Those
I think
Minox.
yeah. Oh, and the Minox, and they hide the Minox very well in those little planets too. So definitely, I did enjoy those way more than before, as well as the way they did the whole the little side missions in space where you had to, get rid of TIE fighters because somebody's being attacked. I kind of felt it felt a little bit more realistic to me, and it was like a side mission that you were given that you wouldn't see in the movie. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. I think definitely seems to be like there's a lot of, I mean, they talked about 4 to 8 hours gameplay. Now, I'm thinking 4 hours is pretty much running through, doing the story, not doing any side missions, not doing any holograms, not doing any stunt parks, not doing. So 4 hours is, I think that is really underselling it. I think that it's literally just hitting the surface, hitting the main stories, and getting out. 8 hours, I think you get more out of it. I think by the time you go through and do all of those side missions, all the moons, find all the flying rats, get rid of all the holograms, 3-star everything.
Were you talking about Minox?
Yeah, I couldn't pronounce it. I forgot.
Flying rats.
Flying rats.
Flying rats. Get those flying rats.
Yeah. There's a lot of content in here to complete the game fully. So I always feel like it gets a little bit. I think playsets as general get undersold on game. If you charge through the story, it's not going to take you very long. There's a lot of additional play, and I do think, you've got 2 figures. The 2 figures alone, you're looking at, what, $10, $15 a piece. So the actual game itself is only costing you $5, $10. So for that, I think you get so much money's worth out of it. You really do. And so I always kind of try and remember that, this is essentially a $10 video game. It's fantastic. You get a lot of content for that.
Speaking of that, ultimately, one thing that I really love about the Force Awakens edition in general, and maybe it doesn't really need to be attached to the playset, but the Kylo Ren figure, the way he plays when you level him up completely, I love so much. It's probably one of his special ability, which I'm not going to mention, but because I want you guys to try it out. But when you do it, where you're being attacked by tons of enemies and you use it, it is so beautiful. I have the gameplay video coming up in the next few hours, and I show you how it works. Oh my goodness, that's probably one of my favorite things that I've ever seen in Disney Infinity. So I am really happy with the Kylo Ren figure.
Right. Okay. So I think that's pretty much. I think it's kind of one of those things of kind of giving our initial thoughts on it, and we're going to be probably discussing this over the next couple of weeks anyway. But any closing thoughts you want to go through? So we'll go through Travis first. Any closing thoughts on the Force Awakens playset?
In general, I really enjoyed the addition to it for the weekend. It kind of added a new level for me. Case in point, yesterday I was down in, now I guess no, Saturday. Yesterday was Sunday now. But Saturday I was down in New York City for the day, and I actually had the figures out with me in Times Square, taking pictures of them out in Times Square, and quite a few people stopped and was admiring the figures and kind of got talking about Star Wars. And I think having them come out opening weekend and the playset and the figures coming out with the movie kind of added a whole new level to the sense of community and all the excitement that's surrounding the movie already. So that's a big plus. I'm still going through the game, so I'm hoping it turns me around a little bit. I'm excited to battle with Kylo Ren finally. And then playing the hologram games. It's like there's a lot more to do
Mm.
that I have yet to even touch. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be quite a few more hours of gameplay for me, which is great. And definitely worth it. You were mentioning that the game is like $5 to $10 this weekend. If you hit the sales right, you could have gotten the playset for $25 here in the United States. So that's 2 characters and the playset for $25. You really can't go wrong. So
Oh, that's cool. Okay, Abe, you want to add in anything? Are your closing thoughts?
Do me a favor. I'm having a little technical glitch here. Can you go ahead and do your closing thoughts, and
Yeah,
then
sure.
I'll do
Yeah,
mine?
no, so-
Go on.
yeah, I mean, for me, like I said, and what Travis sort of kicked into it of having a great experience of the movie come out on Thursday, the playset came out on the Friday, and had to play all weekend. You know, it's kids' holidays, it's Christmas time, it's time to be able to sort of sit down and play this. And I'm loving that. I think they've done a fantastic job of getting this out at the right time, when it's needed, when they need to do it. Like I said, you know, the value of the 2 figures. You know, if they brought out a Finn and a Rey figure on their own, we would have brought them because of the time of it all. I just think it's great. I think it's a great way to do it. That's what I want to see more of in Disney Infinity, is getting more playsets right out when these movies come out. Tie into it, get people excited, do what these are supposed to do. And I love that. The playset isn't perfect for me, I'm not going to lie. It's good. I love the fact that we've got something new. It's bringing me back into Infinity now, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm going to enjoy going through those bits and pieces. Is it my favourite playset out of 3.0? No. But it's definitely worth it. I'm enjoying it. I think it's good, and I definitely think it's definitely worth picking up for anyone that's seen the movie. If you haven't seen the movie yet, and you're trying to avoid spoilers, I don't know. I find the whole thing with spoilers is like if you're a weekend afterwards, you're kind of running the risk at that point with any movie. But no, I think it's good. I think overall it's a good, solid experience. So is Abe back in the room?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Just want to make sure. So final thought. I did enjoy this playset a lot. Obviously, the little subtle things, subtle differences, kind of like got me a little bit at first, and kind of like slightly turned me off a bit. But overall, I did understand the reasons behind it, and it made sense to me. But either way, gameplay-wise, I mean, starting the way the game started, the way it kept going halfway through, it was awesome. I really loved it. I love the aspect of scavenging and repairing things. I love the flight aspect with the Millennium Falcon and the TIE Fighters in Jakku. That was awesome. Love the holo games. The holo games were phenomenal, and I feel that they still did a good job towards the end with the fight with Kylo. There's a lot to do still to explore in this playset. I don't know. I think overall it's still a great playset. If you're a stickler to story with the movie and you want it to be like it, don't expect it to. However, it's still a great game to play. It's definitely a popular one as well, especially how well the movie's doing and how great the reviews are. But overall, I do agree with you, Roger. It's definitely not my favorite of all of them. And it's kind of not fair to say it because technically, you know, the other playsets are supposed to mirror multiple movies, and obviously one of them is very beloved. So it's kind of a little unfair, but still.
Yeah, you know that Phantom Menace, you love it.
Well, I mean, I had Jar Jar Binks to look forward to. Anyways, no. But overall, it's a great playset. Definitely worth the money, regardless. These characters are awesome. Yeah, it's just a great game. So
yeah,
definitely pick it up.
Okay, right. We'd love to know your thoughts on this playset. Comment below. Get in touch with us. Let us know your feedback. Maybe in a few weeks' time, we'll kind of do like a rehash and look at from a few people's different points of view. But love to know your thoughts on it. Be sure to check us out at DisKingdom.com. Remember to check us out on Twitter and Facebook. Just want to give a big thank you to Ethan over at SorterApps.com and MagicBandCollectors.com for being another Patreon supporter again, and to all of the other patrons as well this month. And remember, you can subscribe on YouTube and also subscribe to our audio version on RSS and also on iTunes. Yeah, and just a big thank you to for Travis for staying up this morning and talking to us about the playset. And we are now going to end this show, and then we're going to be then getting straight into recording our next episode of the DisKingdom podcast, where we're going to be doing the full Star Wars Force Awakens spoiler discussion. So we're all like, yeah, bring it on. Yay! So big thank you for joining us, and we shall see you guys in a later episode. Laters.
Later guys.
Later. Amigos.